"Is your mum here?" "She went to get more jars for the ones that broke," she called over her shoulder as she and her troop scurried round the corner of the house and disappeared. Ian hoisted his bags from the truck and headed for the house. But inside the entry hall, he stopped. Pies, buried judging by the globs oozing from them, teetered on furnishings in the sitting room on his right. To his left, a mountain of jam-filled jars obscured the kitchen table. He ventured into the kitchen. A pot of berry goo congealed on top of the cook stove, and partially burnt chicken feathers and bits of broken glass littered the floor around the stove. Mingled odors he couldn't identify hung on the air, none of them good. And no sign of Maggie. She wasn't upstairs when he dropped off his bags in his bedroom either. The sound of Claire's car brought him back downstairs. His sister met him in the front hall with Hannah in tow.
"Uncle Ian!"
The lass beamed a huge smile. Ian scooped her up. She wrapped her arms round his neck.
"Where did you go?"
"I flew over the sea and halfway across the world."
"Good to have you back."
As Claire headed for the front door, she threw a look over her shoulder.
"Even if you are sadly in need of a shave."
With a shy grin, Hannah poked a finger at his jaw. Ian followed Claire outside, tickling his niece with his stubbly chin until she squealed. At her car, Claire said,
"You owe me, little brother. Loads. You can start by giving me a hand."
She stopped and looked round, frowning.
"Where's Maggie?"
Setting Hannah down, Ian said, "I don't know. I just got here." Claire opened the rear door of the wagon. Ian reached for a box. His sister nudged his arm. "Hey."
"What's up with you? You look different."
He hauled out 2 cases and hoisted them up on his shoulder.
"You try 25 hours of driving, flying, and sleeping in airport chairs, and let's see if you didn't come out looking a wee bit shabby." "Och, did I say you looked bad?"
She frowned.
"Hannah, we should go home and come back after the crabby old bear's had his nap."
Ian carried the jars into the house and set them on the kitchen floor, Hannah trailing his every move. Claire followed with another box. He glanced around the room.
"So everything went well, then?"
He held his breath.
"Well?"
Claire hooted.
"Oh, aye, perfectly. We sipped tea and had a lovely wee visit. See for yourself."
She waved a hand over the kitchen and fixed narrowed eyes on him.
"She insisted on warming the jars on top of the stove, and when they popped, she wouldn't let me pick up the mess. She actually tried to chase me off with it."
Maggie loomed in the doorway with a shovel in hand. They all froze. The old woman stamped mud from her boots.
"Is that Ian? Are you home then, laddie? Did you see my sister?"
His brow shot up.
"Did I have a choice?"
He winked at Hannah.
"Grace is well. She sends her love."
As he spoke, Maggie tossed the shovel off into a corner, plodded straight to the sink, and filled a kettle with water.
"We'll have tea, and ye can tell me everything." "What about the jam, Maggie?" Claire asked. "We've more jars to fill." "Whisht, lassie, I dinna care a wee pickle about jam now."
Ian glanced at his watch. Nearly 6 a.m. in Oregon. He cleared his throat.
"I've got business to see to. After that, I'll sit down and tell you everything. Almost."
He ruffled Hannah's hair and headed out the door.
"Och, he's just got here. Where does the dafty think he's going?"
The crackle in Maggie's voice trailed after him. He longed to take that hike. He needed to think. But he promised Emily he'd ring as soon as he arrived. He strode down to the cottage, checking over his shoulder more than once to make sure no one was following. In the cottage, Ian checked the phone for a dial tone, pulled out the number, took a deep breath, and dialed. Emily answered on the first ring. "Ian?"
"Did I wake you?"
A relieved sigh. "Hardly. Did your flights go okay?"
"Fine, just loads of waiting."
He closed his eyes. Her face appeared in his mind. "That's good. Thanks for calling and letting me know." A long pause, then, "Ian, if you don't mind, there's something I'd like to ask you." His heart did a crazy drum solo. Brilliant. Here it comes.